Welcome back to the channel, automotive enthusiasts. Today, we are taking a fascinating and slightly bewildered look at one of the most eccentric corners of the global car industry. If you have ever thought that modern sedans all look exactly the same, stripped of character and charm, then you need to turn your attention to the land of the rising sun. Japan has always been home to some of the most unique automotive subcultures on the planet, and at the very pinnacle of that wonderful weirdness sits a company called Mitsuoka. For decades, this boutique automaker has specialized in taking perfectly ordinary, reliable, everyday commuter cars and transforming them into rolling homages to vintage European luxury. They have given us everything from Honda Civics masquerading as Dodge Challengers to Mazda Miatas dressed up as classic Chevrolet Corvettes. But today we are talking about what might just be their most delightfully confused creation yet, and sadly it is finally time to say goodbye. Mitsuoka is officially pulling the curtain back and dropping the act on its weirdest Toyota ever, with the launch of the highly exclusive Ryugi Final Edition. Based on the recently discontinued Toyota Corolla Axio sedan, this Japanese curiosity has been a staple in the Mitsuoka lineup since 2014, offering buyers a truly bizarre blend of bulletproof Toyota reliability and questionable 1950s British aristocratic styling. Now, to celebrate the end of its deeply unusual production run, the company is sending the Ryugi off with a highly limited final farewell that demands our full attention. To truly appreciate the Ryugi Final Edition, you have to understand the philosophy behind it. Mitsuoka essentially takes a standard, unassuming Toyota Corolla Axio and subjects it to an extreme automotive makeover. The Final Edition sticks very closely to the original Ryugi retro-flavored brief, but it adds a special commemorative trunk emblem featuring classic clock graphics as a subtle wink to its swansong status. If you are hoping for a vibrant palette of vintage colors, you might be slightly disappointed, as buyers can choose absolutely any exterior color they like, so long as it is black mica. It is a strictly Henry Ford approach to color selection for this final run, but the deep black paint does perfectly complement the massive amounts of chrome slapped onto the bodywork. Official press photos released by the company show the Final Edition riding on a choice of either classic polished hubcaps or more aggressive BBS-style alloy wheels, depending entirely on just how deep into the vintage nostalgia rabbit hole you want to lean. When you look at the vehicle from the front or the rear, it is almost impossible to tell that there is a sensible family sedan hiding underneath. Stretching to a total length of 4,510 millimeters, the replica presents itself as a rolling tribute to late 1950s British luxury motoring. The designers have clearly borrowed heavy styling cues from legendary vehicles like the Jaguar Mark II, the Bentley S-Type, and the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. They have taken all of these iconic design elements and blended them into one magnificently confused package that looks as if it lost a serious argument with an automotive history book. The craftsmanship involved in this transformation is actually quite extensive. The handcrafted front and rear sections stretch the vehicle overhangs quite noticeably, fundamentally altering the proportions of the original donor car. Up front, you are greeted by large round headlights sitting in separate pods, massive chrome bumpers that look like they weigh a ton, and a massive, upright chrome grille that aggressively mimics the face of the Parthenon. Out back, the transformation continues with pill-shaped taillights and even more heavy chrome detailing. However, the illusion begins to shatter the moment you view the car in profile. From the windshield backward, it remains very much a standard Toyota Corolla Axio. The greenhouse, the roof structure, the doors, the window frames, and much of the interior layout are carried over entirely untouched from the donor car. This creates a very jarring visual disconnect, where a stately British front end suddenly morphs into a modern Japanese taxi profile. To their credit, Mitsuoka has made some effort to elevate the interior experience, retrimming the cabin in leather to help lift it beyond its economy sedan roots, but the familiar Toyota switchgear and infotainment screens remain plainly visible. Mechanically, the Ryugi Final Edition is an absolute mirror image of the Toyota Corolla Axio that lives beneath its heavily modified skin. This means that while it might look like it should be powered by a massive thumping British V8 engine, it actually relies on incredibly sensible and efficient Japanese engineering.
Power comes from a naturally aspirated 1.5-liter gasoline engine that produces a very modest 102 horsepower. This power is sent either to the front wheels or to all four wheels through a continuously variable transmission. For those who prefer their retro aesthetics to be paired with ultra-modern fuel economy, Mitsuoka also offers a highly efficient self-charging hybrid powertrain. This setup pairs the same 1.5-liter engine with a single electric motor, providing smooth, quiet, and incredibly economical running, even if it completely shatters the illusion of driving a vintage luxury barge. If you are currently reaching for your wallet to secure one of these bizarre creations, you are going to need to act incredibly fast and probably book a flight to Tokyo. Mitsuoka has announced that they will be building just 20 examples of the Ryugi Final Edition for the Japanese domestic market. Once this extremely limited production run officially wraps up, the Ryugi sedan nameplate will continue to exist, but only through the company's aftermarket conversion program, which is based entirely on customer-supplied used Corollas. The exclusivity of this final factory run naturally comes with a rather hefty price tag. Pricing for the Ryugi Final Edition starts at the equivalent of $21,300 for the standard gasoline model and rises to $24,800 for the hybrid variant. For some necessary context, the standard donor Toyota Corolla Axio begins at just $10,600 in its most affordable form. This stark price difference perfectly illustrates just how much extra cash buyers are willing to hand over for the sheer privilege of looking like a 1950s aristocrat wannabe during their mundane daily commute. Interestingly, while the Final Edition officially closes the book on the Ryugi sedan, Mitsuoka is not entirely finished with this bizarre retro formula just yet. For those who demand even more practicality with their manufactured nostalgia, the Ryugi Wagon Adventure remains firmly on offer. Priced at approximately $28,300, this particular variant is based on the gasoline-powered Toyota Corolla Fielder station wagon. It takes the exact same confusing retro styling seen on the sedan and layers it over a heavy dose of rugged crossover attitude. The Wagon Adventure adds a utilitarian roof rack, matte black pillars, rugged disc wheels wrapped in grippy all-terrain tires, special exterior colors, and highly durable seat covers.
It is the perfect vehicle for the incredibly specific niche of drivers whose vintage British motoring delusions occasionally involve some very light off-roading. Ultimately, the Mitsuoka Ryugi Final Edition is a brilliant reminder that the automotive world does not have to be entirely serious all the time. It is a car built purely for the joy of standing out, even if standing out means looking completely ridiculous to the untrained eye. It proves that there is still a market for bespoke, handcrafted strangeness in an era dominated by wind tunnel-tested uniformity. As we say goodbye to this production run, we have to wonder what bizarre transformation Mitsuoka will think of next.